The Aboriginal heritage laws in Western Australia were put in place to stop mining companies blowing up sacred sites like they did years ago. But it seems like there are going to be many unintended consequences, or maybe those consequences are quite intended. Tony Seabrook joins us now from Western Australia with the Pastoralists and Graziers Association in WA, because basically now you've got to run a slide ruler over everything and ask somebody from Perth for permission to do what? What are going to be the disruptions to what you normally do here, mate?
Well, it seems like we're a bit special over here because we've got some special laws. Look, this is the most absurd thing. It's just, it's the greatest assault on private property rights since Federation in WA, and a lot of people are waking up to it. It kind of got under the radar and no one's paying much attention. No serious opposition in our state parliament and no debate. They rammed it through just before Christmas. Comes into play in about 4 days' time. Totally undercooked. An absolute shambles to enforce. But the Labor government over here made dead certain they didn't offend their voters. So anything under 1,100 square metres, you're free to go. Anything more than that, they got you in their sights. And the platitudes, it's staggering.
Well, I was going to say, last time I checked, there's an awful lot of Western Australia and the people who own it and control it and run it and love it. That's a lot bigger than all of those things. So as you say, backyards, not a worry. A little bit of toy acreage, but in the real world, there's plenty there. Give me an idea about something that you do now that potentially this thing's going to stuff up.
Well, Paul, first of all, there's 450 pastoral leaseholders, you might see the map behind me, that are affected.
Yep.
There's 5,700 farmers that are affected and 60,000 small landholders that are affected.
Wow.
So what they're saying is, like for like, if you're just doing what you've always done in the past, you're completely safe. But most of us don't. We're progressive, we change, we want to do a whole raft of things, cleaning up gullies, rock heaps, just all sorts of things that cut across what this legislation is all about. So the government's crafted this clever little system, and it's called Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 3. Now, the first thing you need to do is do a due diligence. Now, none of us have been able to find out what a due diligence looks like. We don't know whether it's a legal document. We don't even know how to do it. But you do that, and then you decide whether what you're doing is a Tier 1 or a Tier 2 or a Tier 3. Now, you'd be a damn fool to go ahead and do something that may see you breaking the law. So then you need to engage with your local LARC, local Aboriginal Cultural and Heritage Organisation. They don't exist. They're not there. They're supposed to be there in 3 or 4 days' time. They're not going to be there. So you engage with these people, and they will send out someone from this local LARC who is a carrier of the cultural knowledge. And he will come onto your property at a fee. And it starts off at about $150 an hour, but it runs out to $450. And this can turn, it's open-ended. There's no limit to how much time they can spend. There's no way of actually contesting what they're doing. So they're on your farm and they're out there looking for sites of cultural significance. Now, it may be a serious cultural place and needs to be protected. But it could be a gully, it could be somewhere the woggle resides or the serpent, it could be the countryside, it could be any darn thing. And it even says in the legislation that just because you get a clearance today that says that what you're doing doesn't intersect with Aboriginal culture and heritage, it doesn't mean that they can't change their mind at some point in the future. I just cannot understand how any government that is saying that it might support farmers could have absolutely... How could they have done this? This is the most absurd and stupid thing I've ever seen.
I mean, you and I are both old enough to know that LARC means something else in the Australian vernacular rather than exactly the acronym that's being spoken of here. As we've seen on screen a couple of times, 30,000 people have signed up to this, and that's a lot of people that are willing to get political in a place where people like to keep to themselves. What's next in the campaign here? Because we've got to get the word out and we need people to join the effort. So how do they do it?
Well, look, I think pressure can be brought on the Labor Party from the eastern states, the state Labor Party, because one of the things that we don't need is division in our society. And look, the bush in WA is getting on fairly well, but this has the potential to create enormous division. And so I'd implore any of the federal parliamentarians, just tell the Labor Party of WA to pull their heads in, because this is going to be divisive. It will be divisive through the pastoral estate, all over the ag area. It says local, which means you need to get someone that's local to come out onto your property. Now, whether they know and have the cultural knowledge or not will always be a question. But if they actually tell a farmer you can't do this, that this is a sacred site or of cultural significance, that will generate friction. And so we're doing the best we can over here. And that petition, we put that out for 2 weeks. We didn't advertise, didn't spend a cent on a petition, and 30,000 people signed it in that time. And our Premier dismissed it as a mere e-petition. And he degraded himself in saying that because, mate, things have moved on from the old signed petition and the telegrams and all the other stuff. This is the way it's done. And he just dismissed it out of hand. And, mate, he's so tone deaf over this issue, it's just staggering.
What a surprise. All he was trying to do was hold on to the job, factional, all the rest of it. But this is a bloke who's ruined the health system and now is trying to go after the farmers. Nice to talk to you, Tony. Let's keep chatting.
Yeah, Paul, before you go, Alex Antic, his little dissertation on Welcome to Country. We don't do that. My organisation does not do that. We knew it was a hoax right from the start, and I just loved his words. They were so precise and so to the point. I just asked most Australians, just Google it and have a look, because, boy, did he nail it.
Bloody oath. Good on you, Tony. Talk to you soon. One of the greats in Western Australia. Tony Seabrook is his name.